Like dating a frat boy. Oh my god, this is the best day ever. I almost had to fight a dude. Happy birthday.
Downtown we let it go. Sunset high and our bodies low. Blood rush in a hazy glow. My hands, your bones. Loose up, we break the scene. One step deep as you fall to me. Hot clap, we skip a beat. Count 1, 2, 3.
Hey y'all, what is up? It is Marissa, Nicole, and welcome back to my channel. Some of you may know me as my drifting desk, where I help you conquer college. And since I've officially conquered college, I've been spending this entire week reminiscing, going down memory lane of all of my years at The Ohio State University. I've already told you guys about some of my funny freshman stories. We tackled my sophomore year, which was my worst year yet for my mental health. And we've talked about my junior year, where I was starting to finally find who Marissa Nicole is. And that brings us to today's video, which is my senior year. Now, I do want to put out there that I actually went 5 years at Ohio State. So I graduated a super senior, a 5th year senior. Some of you guys have been commenting or DMing me asking me if I'm going to do 2 different videos on those years, and I am. So today's video is really just my senior year. There will be another video tomorrow about my 5th year senior year recap. Make sure that you're subscribed down below, turn on your post notifications, that way you don't miss out on tomorrow's recap, and don't forget to also follow me over on Instagram. And if I haven't said it enough yet, you need to watch the other videos because there's an announcement coming, there's stuff happening. Go follow my drifting desk on Instagram to find out what that is whenever I release that. I'm sure you guys know the drill by now, but I'm gonna recap it in case we have some new people here. I'm basically gonna go through my social media. We start with Facebook because that's where I post all of my pictures, and I'm just gonna kind of recap what happened, show you guys some of the stuff. I have not prepared for this at all. I want this to be like raw reactions and raw stories about my years. Now, of course, my senior year, my super senior year are more fresh, so I have more to say probably. Let's see if we can keep this video at a nice time here. Every year starts out with where I've moved that year. We started out in Siebert Hall, Taylor Tower dorm, moved into an off-campus house. This year I actually moved into my sorority house because I joined my sorority my junior year, and I of course have a vlog on that move-in day if you guys want to watch that. But I moved into a quad room which only had 3 people in it, with my sorority sisters Christina and Colleen, and then myself. The quad has like this canvas that gets passed down. It has the quad pod and it kind of just gets hung up wherever. For this year we didn't have our 4th roommate moving in, and so it's just the 3 of us, and so we were like, what are we gonna call ourselves? And I remember we came up with the name Triple Nipple because nothing else rhymes with triple. We couldn't figure anything else out. Loved it. Our rooms were lofted. Watch the video. And my freshman and sophomore year, I was an owl and then an owl leader. But when you join Greek life, all of these sororities and fraternities help move in the owls. So Greek life moves in owls. Owls move in students. And it was really fun because my group got stationed at Siebert, so we got to do owl move-in with my sisters at Siebert. I remember because we had to move in like 2 weeks early to like move the owls in. So we were in like the sorority house forever early before school actually started. And we went to literally, I feel like a party every night. During that, I don't know why. We were all just like pumped to be in the house. And then we had the involvement fair, which we have to work. We have to have like a table at. And so I was there at the involvement fair. And then if you guys remember when I said that, oh my gosh, I got my nose pierced for the first time. Well, I got my nose pierced again for the 2nd time on the first day of school, which I of course vlogged. Obviously, as you guys can see, it never happened. My nose would not heal for me, so I just took it out and I do not have a nose piercing. But we tried it twice. And then of course, to start things off, we started off with block. Remember how I went to like my first block last year? I think that was the only block I went to. But my senior year, I went to every block. And like block in a sorority, I thought was so fun because we would all get like ready together and everybody was just like going all out, like with their outfits, sunglasses, whatever it was. We were looking cute. So I joined my sorority informally in the fall, and so we do have recruitments in the fall and in the winter. So we had our bid day in the fall for like our new informal class, and we had bid day at a little bowling alley. Oh, so this picture just made me think of it. Obviously this happened a little bit before, but my senior year is when I met Griffin, like re-met Griffin. Obviously every year we've touched on these little signs of Griffin, right? So this year is the year that I met Griffin. Remember when I said that we partied like every night the week before school because we moved in early? So we had gone to a party, we're drinking, having a great time, and I'm standing in the kitchen and I see him and I'm like, he looks familiar. Who is he? Like, I feel like I know him. And so I just walk up to him and I'm like, hey, did you live in Siebert? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, oh my god, me too. And so we're like talking or whatever, and then we ended up playing some like beer pong together. Definitely some like harmless flirting, and we won, and it was just like funny. I don't know, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought he was like a boy at a party that I was talking to. And I don't know exactly the series of events, but that's how I found out that like all of my sorority girls already knew him because he was in DU, which is a frat that we partner with a lot, hence the bowling social. And it took a couple weeks or whatever, but me and him would see each other at other parties, or we would go to their block, we would talk, TikTok, and that's where I came across this picture. This was like our first picture together, and he's standing right behind me, and at this point we were like kind of talking, but we weren't dating yet. I went to my sorority's first big philanthropy event, which is our volleyball tournament, Spike Out Arthritis, which was so much fun to be a part of because like it made me feel like I was like really in a sorority now. I got to walk in the homecoming parade with my sorority. We made a float somewhere between, you know, block picture and this picture. Griffin and I started dating, and I remember the one night he like walked me home from one of their parties because our houses are like 3 blocks apart, like AOPI's and DU's, and so at first I was like, I'm just gonna walk home. He's like, oh, well, text me when you get there, trying to be like safe, whatever. I was like, I don't even have your number. We weren't dating at the time, and he was like, yes you do. I was like, no I don't. He goes, well, I have yours. I'm like, how do you have mine? And he like looked it up in his phone, and he still had my number from freshman year. It literally said Marissa Mansfield 706 because that was my room in Siebert. And then he ended up like walking me home, and then we started texting. Last year I got to go to my first like sorority date party informal. Well, this year I got to go to my first like fraternity date party informal with Griffin, and all of us went, and it was so fun. This was the first Halloween that I did not dress up as a cat. Thank you, because Griffin and I did like a couple's costume, and so me and Griffin dressed up as emo people, like scene people, because I went through a hard emo phase when I was little, so honestly I didn't have to like buy anything for this. I straightened his hair, put makeup on him. There's a whole vlog about it. Please go watch it. It's hilarious. But then when I went out with my girls, I did dress like cute, and I dressed up as a pirate. And that same semester we had, you know, our sorority date party, which of course I brought Griffin to. We ended up having like parent and family weekend through our sorority, and so I brought my mom and my stepdad, where we like brought our parents with us to all like the parties and stuff. So funny. Oh my gosh, so this is in here. So this was this semester the first time I ever got paid from YouTube, and I have a video on my first paycheck and like how much I got paid, but this was really when I started to get paid from this and realizing like, oh my god, like I can make money. I didn't even know this. I was just doing it for fun. Over fall break, Griffin and I went to Hocking Hills because I loved it so much the first time, and he's like a photographer. He's good with the camera, and so he was taking pictures of me out there, and there were such good pictures. Love these pictures. I forgot to mention this, but my junior year and my senior year are the years that I had football tickets. I finally got football tickets to go to the games. So Griffin and I were at this game, and this was basically our best picture we've ever taken together. We were at the Ohio State Michigan game. We had just won. We were about to rush the field, and we took this picture. Love this picture. Griffin took me to my first Blue Jackets game and started my love for hockey, especially the Blue Jackets. I celebrated my 22nd birthday with Griffin, and we went to get hibachi, my favorite kind of food ever. We go every year for my birthday, and he took me for my birthday. Oh my gosh, and then, so in the sorority world, basically your little will make you a 21 paddle when you turn 21. It's kind of like a rite of passage. Me and Allison really wanted like 21 paddles, like we wanted that sorority thing. So we decided to make each other 21 paddles for our 22nd birthdays. This is the paddle that Allison made me for my 22nd birthday. I have a vlog of me making Allison's paddle, and I remember I didn't talk to Allison at all that day because I wanted to surprise her with it, because her birthday's before mine, so I didn't know if she remembered that we were gonna do the paddles, but I remembered. So I like made her paddle, and I was like saving it for her, and I told her roommate to come pick me up and bring me over, and her roommate told me, she's like, Allison's mad at you all day because she thinks you forgot her birthday. She was so sad. She's like crying. She's so upset. And I'm like, she really thinks that I forgot her birthday? Oh my god. So I remember walking into her room, the door was shut, well, like cracked. I could see her sitting on her bed just like pouting, and so I like burst open the door, and I was like, happy birthday. Obviously that's like me and Allison's love language. But then I like gave her the paddle, and she goes, oh, thank you. Because she really thought I forgot her birthday. She's crazy. After my birthday and after the new year, I think it was like January 2nd, I chopped my hair again. And it was right before recruitment, so a lot of our recruitment pictures obviously had me in my short hair, and I loved it. I tried so many cute little hairstyles. This was my first time participating in like formal recruitment for the sorority, and it was so much fun. Also, get this, on Sisterhood Round, I recruited Lexi and Rachel. I talked to them both, not knowing that they would become my littles. But on bid day, I went to the union to pick up the girls and like run home with them, because basically you do that. You have to like run home, like you literally run. I remember waiting there, I'm like, I hope I see Rachel. I hope Rachel runs over to us, because they open their bid cards and like figure out who they get, and then they run to that chapter, and then they all run home. So I'm like, please Rachel, run over, because I didn't know where Lexi was gonna end up. Then I see Rachel, and it was like, oh my god, yes. And I grab her hand and we just run home. I of course vlogged bid day, so cute. And then I remember getting home and I see Lexi there. Lexi's already there, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the best day ever. Both of my faves came home to us, and this is our first picture together at bid day. You could already see that we're like crazy together. The weekend right after bid day, I took the littles to DU, Griffin's frat. They were throwing like a 90s party. I was in my whole element there because I love 90s music, and so we went to that party. I got to visit AOPI's international headquarters. I went and like acted as president because our president couldn't go, so I was like the stand-in president for the weekend. It was kind of cool. For Valentine's Day, Griffin and I went to another Blue Jackets game, and then we had a Valentine's Day themed like TG with some of the fraternities, and so I snatched up Rachel and Lexi, got us like matching headbands. They weren't my littles at the time, but I was trying to like solidify that. So I had us all match and we hung out all night. We had mom's weekend, and so my mom came down and we went bar hopping with some other moms. I almost had to fight a dude inside bowls. During mom weekend, we also went to the candle lab and like made candles. I had planned this whole weekend because I was chapter development within the sorority. And then we went on spring break, and this was my first spring break, or like literally any trip ever, hanging out with friends. I've never been on a spring break or like a senior trip. I never got to do any of that kind of stuff. So this spring break, we planned with a whole bunch of friends to go down to Tybee Island. I have vlogged all of those things. You guys can watch those videos. And during spring break, I actually got my tattoo, which is on my ankle, which is a tattoo that I found that I really wanted to get matching with Allison. And then we kind of expanded it where it's like, maybe we should get it with our littles, because at this point they were officially like my littles. If they wanted to do it, we weren't gonna make them do it, but if they wanted to do it, they could. So me, Allison, and Lexi got them on spring break because Rachel couldn't come to spring break. She already had plans. And then later on, as you'll see, Rachel and Alexis got them. So our whole family have matching tattoos, which I think is super cute. And then we had our sorority formal and also the fraternity formal. Like, dating a frat boy is just like double those events because you already have them for yourself, and then I have to go to his too, and it's like so many formals and day parties, but they're all fun. And then comes rose ceremony, which is the day before initiation. I talked about this when I joined, where my littles, they got their roses, they did all of our special things that happen. And then we had initiation where they're like official, they're like in the sorority, it's all there. They gave me my paddles, which are hanging up on either side of my bed. I gave them their pandas. One side was like really aesthetic, and then the other side had Powerpuff Girls on it, because that's kind of our thing. There's 3 of us, and I'm Bubbles, Lexi is Buttercup, and Rachel is Blossom. One of my favorite nights, we had like a wig TG. We had all went to Party City and bought like matching wigs in different colors. That was so fun. Every year during Greek week, which is just like a week for like fraternity and sorority life to just do a whole bunch of stuff, they always end with basically a talent show or a variety show, and it's all like dance teams and you compete. And I was dance team captain that year, so I choreographed the dance and competed. It was so much fun, and we competed at Express Live. And then we had sorority formal. I don't know if I misspoke earlier. The previous ones were like date parties, but then we had sorority formal, and we always do like superlative awards with like sashes and stuff. And this year, me and my littles won Best Big Little, which I thought was super cute. Like, I was so happy for that. And then Griffin had his fraternity formal, which if you've never heard of like a fraternity formal, they are like hyped up. They're so cool because fraternities always travel for their formals. They'll go to like Gatlinburg or like Fratlinburg, or they'll go other places, wherever, like different fraternities or different, you know, wherever you are in the United States, go to different things. We went to Gatlinburg. They rented out like a huge cabin for like everybody in the fraternity and their dates to like come. The place had a pool and a hot tub. It was cool. The main thing that people talk about is the fact that the dates, the girls usually paint a cooler for formal, and you're supposed to like fill it with alcohol to like bring to formal. It's kind of, I don't know why we do it, but whoever started it, I don't get it. But I painted a formal cooler for Griffin. I have a whole video on it if you're curious, but I was so proud of this cooler. It took me so long to make and to paint, but I think it turned out like literally gorgeous. I even told Griffin, I'm like, I'm scared for you to use this because I don't want you to ruin it. Oh, and then comes graduation my senior year, which I don't think I had mentioned to you guys that I was not graduating yet. Like, I of course decided a lot sooner than graduation, but I did post a video letting you guys know that I'm not graduating and kind of going through why and telling you guys that I decided to stay a 5th year. I of course moved out of the sorority house at the end of the year. I loved living in the sorority house. If you join a sorority, live in the house at least 1 year. Every year Ohio State partners with like Cedar Point to do an Ohio State Day, which is basically the day before Cedar Point actually opens. They open it just for Ohio State students and alumni. And so we went to that this year. I of course brought my littles and like Allison and Alexis and all of them, and we had so much fun. I love Cedar Point. Don't get me started. Also that summer, I went on my first like boat, but also houseboat. I went with Allison and her family on their little houseboat vacation that they do every summer, and that was so much fun. One thing that's not pictured in my senior year is the fact that I hit a low, kind of like where I hit a low my sophomore year. We mentioned that that year was like my worst year for my mental health. I also think that my mental health plummeted my senior year for 2 totally different reasons, one of which I have never touched on with you guys before, and I don't want to do that in today's video, but I will at some point. But I think the difference between my sophomore year and my senior year lows were basically how I handled it and my mindset during it, because my sophomore year, it was kind of like there was no way out. I saw no light at the end of the tunnel. My life was over essentially. But my senior year, like, definitely I hit those lows where I'm like, my life is over. I don't want to do this anymore. But I also was able to realize that it is what it is in a way. And the reason that I I was able to do that was because I think I was a little more realistic with myself and logical with myself, which if I had to give any advice to incoming seniors or anybody that this relates to, I feel like the biggest lesson that I learned my senior year was to be realistic and to set reasonable like expectations of people or things and just be like logical with what I'm expecting out of life, out of other people in my life, out of myself, and take things at like face value in a way. I think that I romanticized like everything in my life. I romanticized the way that college would be, and none of it lived up to my expectations, and it made me upset. I romanticized the way that I thought my sorority would be, and that was probably the biggest letdown. That is the reason for a lot of my lows my senior year. I just thought joining a sorority would literally solve all of my problems, and literally my senior year it was the root of all of my problems, and it was so disappointing. And I think my senior year I realized to be more realistic with myself, be logical with myself, and understand that people are gonna let you down, people are gonna be mean, not everybody's gonna like you, your plans are gonna change, and you gotta just roll with the punches. I ended up deciding I was gonna stay a 5th year halfway through my senior year. That was a huge change that I never thought would happen. Griffin really solidified for me that I don't want to go into law right now in my life, which was a huge change that I had always planned on since I was 10. And so that fantasy of mine is now just nothing. I realized that all my life growing up I never had friends because we moved so much that I could never stay anywhere long enough to make friends. That coming to college I thought was gonna be amazing. I would stay here all 4 years, I'd have so many friends, and I didn't. I realized that, okay, I'm gonna join a sorority. Like that's how they're always perceived in the movies. It'll be great. I'll be so happy and loved and just surrounded by good people. I wasn't, at least not all the time. Of course, I have my girl gang, which is great, but it was just this romanticized view of what I thought my life was gonna be like. So I would highly suggest that you sit down and have a real heart-to-heart with yourself and see what you're kind of fantasizing or romanticizing and try to be more realistic about it. Understand that like, what is the probable outcome of me doing this? Or like, what would probably happen if this happens? Not like, oh my god, I really hope that I join this sorority and I'm just happy all the time, and I really hope that I go to college and I become a doctor. Like that stuff changes, and college is gonna hit you like a train with that kind of stuff. It just all happened to me, I feel like my senior year, of like reality setting in for me. Hopefully you guys do it earlier on, because I think that would have helped me more if I was more realistic and logical going into it, but I learned those lessons my senior year. But I hope you enjoyed my senior year recap video. If you haven't seen the other ones, I will link them down below for you guys, but don't forget to subscribe and turn on your post notifications, that way you don't miss tomorrow's last recap video. And don't forget to follow me over on Instagram and follow my drifting desk on Instagram. I love you guys so much, more than you will ever know, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
Won't you start the music, get into it, won't you dance with me? Find the place and lose it, you can do it, won't you?